Hey, what's up, guys? Doing another hit and run. I'm surprised this came out, but I guess it's around that time. Doesn't disappoint, or does it? There's actually a really cool article in here that I agree with, so that's why I think it's cool. But we get the editor like this. He's talking about when he stopped dressing up for Halloween. I told you that story when I stopped dressing up and I took neighbors' kids trick-or-treating, and I told you how that went. But it's funny here how he always ends it. This guy, Phil Nobile Jr., okay? I'm not harassing him, please stop. Okay? He's always like pointing, he's always like wagging a finger at you, the reader. It's kind of funny. Everything is about friggin', as you see in the culture around you, he's just reflecting it, you know, even though he's a guy probably my age. He's always waving, scolding you, the reader, right? The horror fans. You are not worthy, right? The rigid Randys, who insist things must be one way over another. Right? Right. I'm sure that you don't think things should be the way you don't want them either, right? Let's be honest. Yeah, the Halloween sequel deviating so far from expectation that its star promises our readers it will infuriate them. The second film seemed to. Right? Like we have a new Hellraiser that looks to shake things up in a foundational way. Yeah. There we go. We need to have some empathy for those taking their brave, uncertain leaps. I remember when we took our own. We need to. No, we don't. You don't have to. You don't have to. Right? You're rigid. No. You're rigid. Well, anyway, tit for tat. I'm feeling tit for tat. And more importantly, I just saw that. I didn't even realize that. I actually met him at a convention, Clue Gulliger. He was cool. I remember he looked at me. He goes, "You look like you should be an actor." I was like, "What?" I think he meant maybe I should be like a hired goon character actor or something. But I always remember that. So rest in peace, man. I'm gonna do some editing here. So, alright. So you have the final girl. I keep telling you about the final girl, right? I've gone over that so many times. I'm not even gonna say what it really is, but you have here, right? Survival against toxic masculinity, but also subverting the misogynistic pitfalls, and exploiting feminine anxieties. Right? This is right. Something triumphant. Right? Oh, the WOC, son. She gets to win in the end. So you gave the ending away. What the hell? Yeah. Reluctance to revel in violence against women. I didn't want to shoot violence. It's a horror movie. Yeah. I like this too. Misogyny is complex, right? And luckily the villain here, the faces of the patriarchy. The good thing, the villain in this is the blue-eyed devil. Oh boy, it's complex, right? But we like to reclaim her narrative, man. Oh, she's plucky though, right? We haven't seen a woman like this before. No, we haven't. You're right. Wait, she's different. Look, I want her to be a badass. She's an action. This is what the patriarchy feels like to me. A power that's so vast and so difficult to defeat. Bourgeoisie. Anyway, you have no idea that you're actually manifesting the patriarchy has been destroyed for a long time in the West. I'm not gonna look through this article because my man Rorschach said this was a good film, so I'm gonna check it out because of him. So I'm not gonna go over this. It looks like a chick horror flick though, but I'll take his word for it. So. Alright, I'm gonna round this out with this here. Interesting. Always a fan of Joe Bob Briggs. Thought he was the best guy to do that, but like a lot of people, he didn't like Halloween 3, right? Now here's the end. In the end, we don't decide these things. The planets do, right? So apparently, I don't know who this chick is. That's it. I think that's it. Oh, careful. That's in the next vid. But Joe Bob Briggs, he always didn't like Halloween 3, like most people. I didn't like it when I was a kid. To me now, it's one of the best horror films of the 80s, easily. Okay. Of course, they don't talk about why. I've given you that in that video, which I'll link to, relevant evidence. But it's interesting how she finally got him to see the film and like it, I guess, better. Okay. Now, of course, having a woman upstage a patriarch is probably a nice angle for Fangoria. Oh, you're looking into things that aren't there, probably. But dude, Halloween 3 is so good. Anyone showing how good this film is now is something I'm for. And interesting here, they had Joe Dante apparently was slated to do this film. I'm not a big Joe Dante fan, to be frank. Gremlins, Piranha was alright. And The Howling. Alright, maybe I am a fan. Yeah, we're saying Nigel Neal was very difficult. So, if you're familiar with the movies that he directed, or that he wrote, he always had problems, even in the 50s, with what came out. So, but in terms of, he's more of a science fiction guy, but dark science fiction. Yeah, love that. Yeah, Halloween 3, man. I'll end this vid real quick. You know, I'm not a huge fan of VHS movies, although I'm a huge fan of VHS itself. But yeah, it's interesting that they're talking about VHS 99. And they mentioned something here that some of you may not remember. Right? Y2K. Right? I remember everyone was freaking out that the computers were gonna all shut off. Right? What a horrible thing that would have been if it had happened, right? Thank God the world continued on. So anyway, but it's I'll end that with this. Really don't have much to say. The second part will be interesting, as there's something that has fooled me, I think, or I'm not sure. It getting to the point where in the second vid, the thing I was reading, I'm not entirely sure what the reality of the situation is, and I'll get into that later. It shows you where things are going. So, yeah, and yeah, it started to, you know, it's just started to get very, very repetitive. It doesn't it? So.